Hi, this is going to be a tutorial of something I've done a little bit before, but it's going to be kind of a truncated, if you will, version of the study of going from primaries to dark. There's all sorts of ways of doing that, but I'm going to do a version that I talked about in class, and then a couple extra things. But just to start with, I'm going to use my Quinn Rose. This is M gram Quinn Rose, and I'm making kind of somewhere between watery and juicy. Didn't really get enough in my brush. So hopefully nothing too earth-shattering here. Just putting in a layer of Quinn Rose all the way across. And I think what I'm going to do, I've been thinking about this a lot, is that I'm going to do a similar thing over on this side. But I'm going to be eventually going to a darker, ooh, that was fun, a darker version of red in a different sort of direction around the color wheel. This one I'll be going, you could really sort of think of it as going in a warm direction to a dark, to a warm dark. And I'm going to play with the idea of sort of doing a similar thing over on this one, but going in a cool direction. I'll explain as I go, but the next one is going to be the Azo Yellow, another M gram. And you're going to do the same thing here. So, well, similar thing, only with yellow. I will say, maybe in a way it's not exactly similar. I should say that, because yellow is such a overall light valued color that at its most saturated, its most intense, its creamiest, it's only going to get, it's not going to get very dark. So I'm trying to, whereas this is more of a somewhere between watery and juicy, this is really sort of more somewhere between juicy and creamy, really. And that's because I'm trying to keep things kind of similar in a values sense going down the column. And if I want to get from yellow to a what could be thought of as a black or extremely dark version of yellow, that's tricky to do. And I'm going to start off, instead of starting off with watery yellow or watery juicy, starting off more with something a little bit stronger and thicker, and hopefully that will become clear as I move on. So there's those two, and now I'm going to do the Peacock Blue. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do on the right side of this study, but the left side is a similar idea, somewhere kind of between watery and juicy. Oh, that's right, I have some ripped paper right there, so don't worry about that odd thing going on. Now I'm going pretty fast, but it's just studying colors. So really the thing I'm more interested in is in making sure that, you know, I have previous colors washed out of my brush, and these colors are going to be represented pretty accurately. I'm more concerned about that than whether or not they're perfectly within their boundaries here. So for the last two here, I'm going to play with, I'm just going to put down, first I'm going to do indigo, like a layer of indigo. And if we do sort of indigo to really dark indigo, that will not involve any other colors besides indigo. And just to keep people guessing and confused, what I'm going to do on the right side, I just decided about 10 seconds ago. No, I've been thinking about it. But I have been, as I hope you will always do, is think about new things, new and different opportunities and supplies, and I have been kind of rethinking if I want to introduce a different dark into my main palette here that that has some similar qualities, but a little bit different. But I'm gonna put in over here, over on the right side here, and I'll mark this down eventually. What's a color called neutral tint. And this particular neutral tint, because there's several of them, several brands make a neutral tint, including Daniel Smith and Winsor Newton. And it's an interesting concept, and it's a paint that theoretically it's supposed to make any color just darker without changing its temperature at all. I don't think of using it in that sort of fashion, but I do think of using it in a similar fashion to my indigo, in that I'll be using it when I want to either get darker in a coolish bluish direction or just straight darker in any direction. The other thing that's odd about it is that the makeup of the paint is very different across brands. I won't get into it, but I have played with several of them, and really am digging this M. Graham neutral tint. So that's what that'll be. And then back over here, I'm going to just go with good old regular Daniel Smith quinacridone burnt orange. And just kind of practice getting darker with that, which will take some mixing in of either indigo eventually when we start getting really dark. Burnt orange will only get so dark by itself. But I'll do the same thing over here. A little more in the brush would be helpful, Farron. So, M. Graham, Quinn Rose, both here. M. Graham, Azo Yellow, both here and here. Holbein, Peacock Blue, here and here. It's my favorite sort of phthalo blue. Stays more of like a true cyan kind of color. Although I wish there was something that stayed even more cyan. But then this is Daniel Smith Indigo. This is M. Graham Neutral Tint. And this is Daniel Smith Quinn Burnt Orange. And so is that one. So I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to come back and start putting on second layers and go from there.